big time barbecue. I'm gonna smoke this pork butt big time. Okay, guys, come on in here. Again, the process starts when you pick a roast. Get one that's soft and has a lot of tissue in it. You'll be able to feel it. You'll be able to feel it, and you'll feel other ones that might be firmer. I always go with the softer ones. I trim most of the heavy fat off. This was the fat cap on the bottom. This is part bone right here. A lot of this is going to render tomorrow. So right now, this is what it's looking like. And there's the bone, and when this is done, that bone's going to pull right out of there. This is going to be like maybe a 12-hour cook. Over to the pan. Okay. Now let me move this out of the way. Now we're going to start to inject all over with my trusty little Walmart 98-cent injector. So if it gives me issues, you know why. But this is a half a cup of apple cider juice, a quarter cup of apple cider vinegar, and the ham bone broth. Here we go. I'm going to do the apple cider first. And then I'm going to dump some of this in here for next round. And just start hitting it all over the place. I like to make it like a little pocket. I'm going to take the rest of this. I'm going to dump it right over the top. I'm going to clean my hands up. I'm going to dump some more apple juice over the top. I'm going to cover it with saran wrap, put it in the refrigerator, and I'll see you tomorrow morning. Good morning, YouTube, and thanks for watching my video and supporting my passion. I love this. It's Saturday morning, getting ready to put some rub on that pork butt. There's only a teaspoon of salt in this rub, and if you notice, I didn't inject any salt into the roast either, into the pork butt. You can get flavor without killing it with salt. I'll show you what I got in this thing. All right, we got a teaspoon of onion powder, a teaspoon of chili powder, a teaspoon of garlic powder, tablespoon. This one's a table. This is the only tablespoon of smoked paprika. A teaspoon of cayenne, and you can't even, the cayenne doesn't make it hot. It just gives it flavor. And this is it. 1 teaspoon of salt. You need a little salt. Quarter of a teaspoon, half a teaspoon of black pepper, and a quarter cup of dark brown sugar. You can use light or dark. I like the dark. And we're going to mix that up. I just wanted to show you guys what it looked like there. We're going to mix that up. I got this rub recipe. I like it. I even like this rub recipe on ribs. And sometimes I'll put more cayenne pepper, and I'll get some jalapeno jelly, and I'll thin it out a little bit, and I'll use that as a glaze on my ribs, and I'll make jalapeno ribs. There's so much you can do with these grills. Okay, guys. We're going to apply the rub now. Okay, guys. Now you see how the rub and the salt got working on this pork butt? This is what you want. It's been sitting for about a half an hour. Now we're going to take it out to the grill and we're going to put it on. Now this is the beauty of this. We're going to let this go. We're going to walk away. I'm going to come back an hour later and maybe take a peek, see what's going on. Oh, I forgot to put the probe in. We're going to put the probe in. This is also the beauty of what makes this so easy. Where I had a kettle smoker years ago, you had to babysit it a little bit. Put this in the thickest part of the meat. Try to stay out of the fat. Keep it in the meat. And stay away from bone. And again, I keep it off the grates. Alright, it's been about an hour that baby's been in there. It's still pretty moist yet. I'm going to let it go before I spray it. Probe. It's 64 degrees inside the roast yet. Here's what she's starting to look like. Big time barbecue. All right. The pork butt has been smoking for roughly 2 hours. Checked it in an hour. It's still pretty wet yet. So now, to keep the flavor thing going and to keep it from drying out, we got 1 part apple juice, 1 part orange juice, and about 4 tablespoons of Pinot Grigio white vinegar. This is very acidy. Perfect for this. We're going to spray it. Going to go out to the grill and spray. Here comes my neighbor Albert. Here comes my neighbor Albert. He's my favorite neighbor. You're going to be on video, Albert.
I am.
Yeah, I want to show these guys how to spray this quick. Let's see what this looks like. Now she's getting to look like something. Starting to dry out a little bit. So we're going to wet her down. And I'm not going to turn it. I'm just going to leave it right where it's at because you're not dealing with high heat. Wet her down. Shut the lid. Let's give an internal temperature check here. We're up to 93 degrees. We get around 160, it's going in the oven. Off for the smoke. Guys, I want to give you guys one quick look at this. Remember what it looked like when we put it on? I never turned it. I never turned it because the bottom renders just like the top, so it doesn't dry out. You know what I'm saying? So we're going through a little smoke mode right now, but I'm pulling it off because I don't want it to get too smoky. And I'm going to take it in the house and I'm going to finish it off. 10 hours later, there it is. Put it on a smoker at 8:15 in the morning. Internal temp was around 160. When I pulled it off at about 20 after 3, we spritzed it 4, maybe 5 times. Here we are, finished product. I brought it in the house at 3, finished it off in the oven at 275. On the smoker, we were set at 225. When you cover it up, it gets done quicker and it eliminates the stall. It'd still be on the smoker if I want to cover it up, but I think it renders all the moisture. This is what we got out of it. I like covering it. I like it covered better. I don't like super strong smoky taste. This is the test we're going to do right here to see if we're done. When this bone renders off like that, that's done. This is done. Come on in a little closer. Look at this meat. Oh yeah, and it's still juicy. 10-hour. This was a 10-hour cook. It was around an 8-pound. It was an 8-pound pork butt. It's still hot. I let it rest. I let it rest for an hour. Now, when you pick through this, if there's any connective tissue which is all rendered down, like right here, I'll get rid of it. I'll get rid of this. That's what's nice about picking it apart. But I want to taste it. I'm gonna give this a taste. At 203 degrees when I took it out. I let it rest for an hour, guys. There it is. Okay, guys. I promised you a sandwich. You got a sandwich. And this is a little of the homemade tangy barbecue sauce to go on top. I like it just like that. The sauce really sets it off. Remember, the only salt that I added was 1 teaspoon of salt. But you gotta have this on top too, guys. Oh yeah, big time. Big, 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 big time. Life is good. Look at that. You saw the finished results. Thanks for watching. Anybody can do this. It's easy. The grills make it easy. But not too smoky. I think I nailed it. 6 hours in the smoke. Remember, I went an extra hour. 7 hours, 10 hours total. I finished it off in the oven. I rendered the fat. I skimmed the fat off the juice when I put it in the oven. And when you reheat the meat, you take a little of that juice and you put it on the meat with the sauce, the coleslaw. Huh. You can do this. Good stuff, guys, I'm telling you. And again, the only salt that was in it was in the rub. One teaspoon. The only other salt that I think would be in here was there salt in the ham bone? Maybe. Don't forget that ham bone broth gives you flavor. I've never seen that on the internet. I saw them add rub and everything, but I never saw them do. And if you don't have a ham bone, you can buy ham shanks. And you can boil the ham shanks down and you can get flavor that way. Just make sure you strain it through a cheesecloth, get the fat and everything out of it. The only other salt I could think of came from the ketchup in the tangy barbecue sauce, which sets this over the top. Give me a thumbs up. Guys from work, if you like it, let me know. I'll make a batch of it and bring it in so you can try it. Thanks.